What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jacked Ramsays pregame show. Danny Brang, Brandon Sprague, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you. We love you. We like you. We definitely like you more than Kyrie Irving. I think it's the safe thing to say.
Is he? Where does he rank for you? You think of most
guys that I never want to hear say another word? Very high.
Just disliked in general by NBA fans, because I think he's a little more polarizing than I want to give credit.
No. Here's the thing. He has real stands. Like, real stands. Here's the difference. Kevin Durant doesn't. Kyrie has more fans than Kevin Durant, which is insane because Kevin Durant is 87 times the player that Kyrie Irving is.
Yeah.
But people like to feel a certain way, and Kyrie makes them feel smarter or when they really shouldn't.
Kyrie does?
I think they do, yeah. Like there's a large contingent of Kyrie fans that just fully eat up everything that he says and does. And the frustrating part is his shoe line is sick as hell.
Yeah, he's got a really great shoe. Like, it's one of the more underrated ones.
I've got like 4 pairs of Kyries. Like before, a couple years ago, I was still hooping in Kyries. Like I moved off I wore D Roses for a while, and then I moved over to the Kyries. But yeah.
I got super controversial, man. I don't usually dive into politics, but my daughter got Kyrie's, and we took them back and got the freaks.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
There was zero political in that statement. I just wanted to state that.
Yeah, listen, and I honestly, like, if I was still playing, I would still find a way to slide my feet into some Giannis's.
The one shoe I liked I thought was really good was the PGs. I think the PGs are nice.
Yeah, no, the PGs are great. They're fantastic. They're awesome. They're also made for people whose feet are, like breadsticks, just straight and skinny. There's no thickness allowed in those shoes. And he actually he said when he designed them, he wanted them to basically cut off the blood to his feet.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, I tried a pair of those on. I was like, not for the thick-footed. No way. What is for the thick-footed? Jacked Ramsays pre- and post-game show. Welcome, everybody. We appreciate you. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us grow the show. If you're watching here on YouTube and this is your first time, welcome. We appreciate you. If not, welcome back. Everybody is welcome here. We are not discriminatory towards even if you're a Kyrie fan. Listen, we'll let it slide.
We got any in the chat? Not
yet. I will make fun of you, but you were welcome. You were safe here, and as far as being allowed to be here, but you will be ridiculed. Just be forewarned. The Portland Trailblazers obviously are taking on the Brooklyn Nets. This is a makeup game from December 23rd. The Nets did not have the required 8 bodies, and along those lines, they rescheduled the game actually relatively quickly when you look at it. Was this January 10th now? So 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this, I think, on one of the pre or post.
Yeah, and I thought they thought they were going to push it to the back end of the 6-game trip.
If not, I was wondering aloud if they would just not play it and say you played 81 games.
The Blazers need that extra loss, Brandon.
This is very true.
They need the extra loss.
The Nets might need an extra win.
Yeah, I mean, the top of the East is going to be pretty damn competitive, I think, when it comes down to it. But Kyrie, because Oregon's vaccination laws are what they are, will be allowed to play tonight. He traveled with the team, as did Kevin Durant, as did James Harden. However, James Harden has been ruled out. Hyperextended left knee. Mm-hmm. And yet, we will get into the gambling line later tonight. That makes you wonder what the line may have been with James Harden playing. So it's going to be a little bit interesting as far as what to watch for tonight. The Blazers, when fully healthy, don't have anybody to cover Kevin Durant. Newsflash, Brandon. The Blazers are not fully healthy. They will be without 4 starters again tonight. No Damian Lillard, no CJ McCollum, no Norman Powell, and no Larry Nance Jr.
They also don't have anybody who can guard Kyrie Irving.
Well, I mean that's easier to deal with. Like,
is it?
I mean, guard scoring, yeah. Like, you can have, you can throw a little bit of size, I think, at Kyrie and try to bother him a little bit. Like, you could throw Nassir a little on him and let him chase him around, and Kyrie can still cook him.
I was saying Kyrie could really take him to school a little bit just to get him in foul trouble and really mess up the rotation. But your point is valid. Like, they're down Harden, LA's out, but Portland's still down more, and this could get ugly tonight.
I would imagine so.
In fact, I'm going to get ahead of you here. I'm not going to say what the line is. Danny, I'm betting alternative spread tonight.
Are we?
We're feeling froggy. We're leaping.
Okay.
I'm taking Nets to win by 14-16 at plus 825.
Okay,
I think this is going to be a
boat race.
Yes.
Okay.
Kevin Durant will not need to play for maybe the whole fourth quarter. That's the kind of vibe I'm feeling with this game.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot. It's hard for me to go any number like that in the NBA. But
Why?
Yeah, that's a big number, man. And you've said to me off air, Vegas has gotten these big spreads wrong mostly this year.
Well, I'm talking about the line. That's the lines. These are alternative spreads that you just bring in.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, but it's already at 8.5.
Right. It's already climbing. So if you tell me 6 more, I mean, look, I'm watching college football here. Matt Damon's telling me that fortune only favors the bold. Like you gotta put yourself out there. That's what I'm getting at. I can't afford Bitcoin. So
Remind me again, who did you take in the national championship tonight? Fortune favoring the bold?
Alabama plus the 3.5.
Oh, okay.
I got a dog. I got him as a dog.
That's really fortune favoring the bold. Alabama going for their 8th title in 13 years. It's a real bold prediction there.
They're underdog. All right. Give me Nick Saban with points. I'm in.
So I would expect Portland to run out the Anfernee Simons, Ben McLemore, Nassir Little lineup that they have been putting out there.
Yeah.
Jusuf Nurkic being the only starter kind of in the rotation right now. Eric says, I don't know, Danny, they just flew cross country in a back-to-back, and that is what I was going to get to, is that both teams are coming off back-to-backs. The Blazers had a relatively easy one against the Sacramento Kings. There were minutes played by Anfernee Simons and Jusuf Nurkic. I would not call those taxing minutes, but we're still talking about playing a lot of minutes in a back-to-back,
right.
And it's never an easy thing to do. But as far as like what to watch for in tonight's game is honestly, it's these matchups. Will the Nets have the bodies? The Nick Claxtons of the world? Are they going to be able to handle Jusuf Nurkic, who he was weird in the first quarter against the Kings, but he had a monster box score night, 14, 16, and 9, an assist short of a triple-double. Really was able to get kind of rolling late in the second quarter and close the game out and really control the glass, particularly in the second half.
Yep.
A little sloppy with the ball at times, but kept the offense moving and humming along. Anfernee Simons was a walking bucket. I don't expect that the Nets will have too much of an answer for him. They will not have Joe Harris. He's still out for wrist surgery. But they do have enough dudes to kind of throw it and maybe slow him down a little bit. But I expect this game to be a big time scoring night for both teams.
Well, and I'd imagine Steve Nash and company in that locker room are basically drawing up on the whiteboard, make anyone else score.
There's just 3 actual live giant ants on the whiteboard with little red circles with lines through them.
With his face probably cut out. Yes,
yeah.
Like
anyone else.
Anyone else. And I think you have to put yourself in that spot. And if Portland if it comes to that, I don't know who else that's going to be. And that's kind of why I lean the Nets and kind of blow it, even with the coming cross-country trip thing. My big what to watch for, though, is going to be Jusuf Nurkic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. It wasn't necessarily the most taxing, but he also doesn't play a whole lot of games of getting 38 minutes. So what kind of physical shape is he going to be in once that tip starts? He's got a real opportunity to kind of impose his will on this game and maybe help Portland stay closer than I think. But that's a real big question mark right now, because we very rarely get it back-to-back when he has rest, let alone coming off 38 minutes in a back-to-back.
Yeah, that's kind of the big one, right? Like, I don't know about all this. One thing I do know, Brandon, I was doing a little bit of work for a video breakdown that I'm doing for the trade deadline to kind of tag where people are in the trade circles and trade demand. And that means taking a look at Anfernee Simons and Nassir Little and trying to figure out exactly where they're at as far as their production, what they've been able to accomplish over the last couple of weeks. And I was actually digging through Nassir Little stuff, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let me go ahead and take a look at this. Let me see what's going on here. And what I ended up coming across was in the player tracking database, or I should say the play type database. I was looking at Nassir Little's pick and roll as the ball handler because it's popped up quite a bit. And one of the things that kind of peaked up was, turns out, let me go ahead and sort this here real quick. Possessions. I ended up sorting it for this because of Anfernee Simons. If you take a look at the pick and roll ball handlers across the NBA, the big thing that is popping up right here is that Anfernee Simons is the second most effective pick and roll player in the entire NBA right now.
Wow.
He is, I set the parameters for 125 possessions. Ant is at 150. For reference purposes, Kevin Durant is at 134. Donovan Mitchell is at 437. Wide range.
Holy moly.
Basically, Donovan Mitchell runs a lot of pick and roll. It accounts for 48% of his offense. For Anfernee Simons, it accounts for 33%. But one thing that popped up was Anfernee Simons is averaging 1.04 points per possession. Donovan Mitchell at 1.07. Kevin Durant at 1.04. CJ McCollum at 1.01. Zach LaVine 0.98. Steph Curry 0.97. Chris Paul 0.96. Basically what I'm saying is Anfernee Simons has got volume, and he's been stupid good. Not like, oh, this is... And the thing is, you go back every year, it gets better every single year. He's 6th in effective field goal percentage, 10th in overall field goal percentage. He's not just shooting the ball, Brandon. He is creating out of the pick and roll about as good as you can. And if you're looking for something to watch tonight and really the rest of the season, it is, can Anfernee Simons continue to develop in the pick and roll? Can he not? We know he can shoot. He can shoot the cover off the ball. That is unquestionable at this point. But when you're looking at volume pick and roll, when opponents know it's coming, this is the Damian Lillard effect, right? And we've kind of seen Ant do this over the last couple games where it's like, you can throw two at us, you can trap him, but guess what? I'm going to put the ball in a perfect example is against the Kings last night. They threw two at him, and he threw that kind of scoop one-handed rat pass after Nurk passed him up on the roll, and he drew two, and it turned into that wide-open Nurkic dunk. That's the kind of step that we're going to take. And I think when you're facing a team like the Nets that can just put the pedal down and make you score, it's going to be really interesting to see how Anfernee Simons can go out there and make it happen against a team that maybe they're not great defensively, but they present some unique challenges and opportunities.
How different does the offense look with him and nobody else out there so far to you?
Without the CJs,
without the core guys, yeah.
I mean, everything has to run through him. I mean, unquestionably, he's the only guy right now who can dribble, pass, and shoot.
Yeah,
like, that's the thing. With him on the floor, he has been like their offense is still good, still actually very good, to be honest. When he's on the floor, his offensive rating is through the charts. In fact, let me pull up his offensive rating in January. Advanced offensive rating on offs. Let's see. This always makes for good live shows, but
I didn't mean to throw something at you.
No.
I was thinking about everything you were saying.
I wanted to know where he's at right now. So let's.
What?
Offensive rating with Anfernee Simons right now in the month of January is at 121.5.
Oh. So it's going well, Bob.
I mean, the defensive numbers right now are a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to get into the defensive side of things because we know they don't either. But
they are.
They're cooking.
The Ant's effective field goal percentage in the month right now is 71%. His true shooting percentage is 75%.
Golly.
So, and his usage rate is actually at 26% because of the two games where they have force-fed Jusuf Nurkic for long stretches. But this is the next step in the evolution. This is the insanity of what do you have? Is he the guy or is he a dude? And I mean that in not a non-derogatory fashion because Jordan Clarkson is a dude. Damian Lillard is the guy.
Right.
And that's the pecking order that he's seeing. Is he a sixth man or a good starter or is he a guy like he could run your entire offense.
Well, I was going to ask, when you are differentiating between dude and guy, and you're using Clarkson and Dame as examples, you really look at Ant and think he could be Dame? Because
that's the next 40 games you're going to tell us.
I think that tough. Yeah, I know, but that's another level. Like that is listen.
If you're performing that well in the pick and roll, you're literally the top of the NBA.
Yeah.
If we get to the end of the season and he's averaging over a point of possession in the pick and roll as a high usage pick and roll guy,
right,
while also shooting the living hell out of the ball off a zone catch and shoot, and that's the thing is like I was going through all of the metrics for Ant and Nas. And I was like, man, like Nas has actually been pretty good in limited pick and roll sampling. And it's like, okay. And then I saw Ant's numbers, and he's in the 92nd percentile while having that much volume. I was like, Jesus, what is? So I started kind of diving into it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go back and watch, the maturation of this process and look at it over the last couple of years. Like he's always been like right there behind Dame and CJ. I've seen everybody asking like, where's Dame at? Dame's down this year. I think he's at 0.94, but historically Dame has been one of the top 4 pick and roll guards in the entire NBA throughout his entire career. He's usually around 1.01, 1.02 points per possession, which is, if you're over a point of possession in the pick and roll at high volume, you are elite. And I can tell you right now, there are 2 guys that have been there every year since Damian Lillard has been in the NBA. Damian Lillard and Chris Paul. They have been the 2 best pick and roll point guards in the NBA in Dame's career.
Let me ask you, so what do you think about this? I was thinking about the net game tonight and kind of things I was just looking for. And it follows a lot with what we already said, right? Jusuf Nurkic, Ant playing, coming off of another good game. What's that look like? I'm also curious to see how Brooklyn approaches it, because we joke about him being on their whiteboard and it's like it's only Ant, and if Ant can't beat you, nobody else will. But I want to see what Kevin Durant, how Kyrie Irving, like how do they approach him?
What do they look like when they see him on the floor? How do they treat him?
How do they treat him? How much attention is he getting? Because I'll say this, KD, while not one of the all-time great two-way players, when he's locked in, he can make hell of an impact on defense.
Yeah, 7-footers who can move their feet tend to be impactful.
And I really want to see how he reacts to seeing Ant, like whether that's cutting around screens or when he drives the lane, like how much attention does he create for himself based on what he's been doing? The gravity and the respect.
That's the thing. Is like how much and that's the evolution. That's where you talk about like the difference between a guy and between the guy and a dude. Jordan Clarkson can bend a defense.
Yeah.
Like you worry about him, but Damian Lillard can break a defense.
Right.
And is Anfernee Simons going to be a guy that bends a defense or breaks a defense? Because his shooting gravity will bend a defense his entire career. I have zero question about that. I know that he will be a 40% three-point shooter that when he's on the floor, you're going to go, shit, I can't leave him.
Yeah.
That's just something that's going to be a part of his game. But are you loading up for him? That is the difference. And that is a situation where you go, I don't need to help. Or is it, you know what? Screw whoever in the corner. I need to make sure this guy doesn't get going. And I don't think the Nets are going to quite treat it like that in tonight's game as far as like really loading up on him.
Why do you think that? Because if we disagree, right? Like if you get him out of it, there's nobody else to really lead them.
Here's the thing. Are they flying cross country to like really have a targeted individual game plan, or are they flying cross country trying to out talent Portland right now?
Well, I mean, they very well could. I mean, you're right. They could out talent Portland by walking into the building. But what I'm saying is, if you impose it early, you build enough of a lead, you get Ant to get out of his game,
and you just back it up.
Yeah, you're talking about a minimal amount of energy spent compared to what you would if this was a full strength Blazer team. That's what I'm saying.
I can go with that. More often than not, most teams don't go individual game plan until post All-Star break. That's when you kind of start seeing teams go, unless you're Toronto and you're Nick Nurse and you're a sociopath.
I don't like that you're poo-pooing this, okay? I want to know that Kevin Durant loves Anfernee Simons as much as you.
Hey, listen, Ja Morant does. Ja Morant went on Twitter the other day and said he bleeps with him.
Yeah.
So, and Ja was just named Player of the Week, which Anfernee Simons was nominated for, but he did not win. He did have a massive week.
He was deserving of it, though. I mean,
it was
amazing. But
absolutely deserving of it. I think had they won one more game, he probably would have won it. But Ja had that block, and well,
woo. Jump 55 inches.
Yeah, well, that'll seal it for you. I think people tended to forget at the beginning of the week that Anfernee had 43 against Trey and led the Blazers in that game, and then followed up with another good game, and then had an okay game, and then followed that up with a really good game. So
yeah,
he's hit 27 threes or something like that this week.
Yeah, I think that's around the number.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. But I'm not going to go into like it, leave it until trades are made.
Yeah, no, I think we agree on that.
Yes, because our love it every night is going to be Anfernee Simons and Nassir Little. Our leave it is effort and watchability of a game, and our like it's going to be whoever just isn't in COVID protocols that night. Does that track with about where we're at?
Yeah.
I genuinely want to know how you feel about where this team is right now and the path they're currently taking. Or are you okay waiting until the trade deadline for any and all moves?
Well, yeah, because I want them to lose, so I don't want them.
What if they brought in younger guys that were maybe more talented but less viable right now?
Give me an example. Give me a player. Just throw a player. Doesn't matter.
Cub for Jeremy Grant.
Well, Jeremy's still hurt, right? I mean, he's still got the UCL injury, right?
Yeah, he should be back relatively soon. And this is, again, folks, well, I know the salary wouldn't work. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's an example.
It's a hypothetical. We're swapping out a 4 for a 4. If you want to throw somebody else in there, I don't care.
That could be dangerous because then it's Ant and Jeremy Grant. That duo is capable of winning more games than I think the Blazers want to win.
But what if I told you that they had an agreement that Jeremy is also going to kind of chill for a little bit, and Trendon Watford and Greg Brown are going to get some run?
Then I'm in. I'm not really all that upset with where they're at. I mean, I was like, as soon as December 15th hit, I stupidly was the guy that was like, oh, they're going to make a trade on December 20th. And, once that came and passed, I'm just like, yeah, they're holding.
I think COVID derailed that for anybody in the league who was maybe going to make an earlier move.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, COVID played a huge factor. You got a ton of teams that were fielding G League players that lived 400 miles away. And the only reason they got a call is because they could drive to the stadium and not have to fly. But still, I wanted a trade. I was expecting a trade right away. And I think when you do that to yourself, you put yourself in a position of being disappointed. And that's ultimately what happened. And then once I got past that, great. I've seen this team play. They're not going to win most of their games. They'll win a lot of them, and they'll make a move when they make a move. But I think they know, because we know, there's no chance you run this core back. Like, this is it. I know for a fact this is the last season.
It's been a little bit crazy. Now, I want to get into that here real quick, is that I keep seeing people like, oh, you can't give up CJ for Jeremy Grant or something along those lines. Jeremy Grant's not as good as CJ, and it's like,
yeah, we need to stop doing this.
This backcourt's done.
Me off.
This is over. Done. Finito. Kaput. It's over. Let it go.
2 role guys and a draft pick, and we will call that good. Like, if you're doing that in the year of 2022, trying to sell yourself that there's certain value you have to get back for him,
no,
or otherwise you can't move him. No, that's just a wrong opinion. It's not even like subjective to me. This is, you trade him, you wish him well, you thank him for everything. You hopefully send him to a decent situation that maybe he could develop and thrive in, and you get back some good pieces while being able to just say, we did the right move of breaking up this backcourt.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at. And I don't know if that's going to be done by the trade deadline, i.e.
it might be summer.
It might be draft night.
It also sounds like he might play again.
Which,
I mean, maybe he won't. I'm going off tea leaves on Twitter. That's all I'm doing.
There was the radio interview that Chauncey did with Jay Allen before the game yesterday, where they said, hey, CJ is healthy. He will be back after the birth of his child.
Yep.
Okay. But after the birth of his child she could have the baby tonight. And after the birth of his child could be 2 weeks from now. Could be 3 weeks from now.
Ooh, I could see a really good piece getting written up in W Magazine. CJ McCollum holding his baby. Dads need to be away for months. You know what I mean? It's like
you know what?
Up for parental leave.
Not just that. Remember, he's the president of the Players Union. protection, safety. He's COVID.
Yeah.
Coming off a collapsed lung. Like, it's not hard for me to grab my strings off the wall and start mapping out conspiracies. I don't even need to put my tinfoil hat on for that.
Oh, and by the way, for anybody maybe thinking this is ridiculous, I don't think it is. Nike gives their employees, I think their male employees, like 2 or 3 months parental leave. So you're getting more companies that are doing this. I'm just saying, like, if they want a way to
it behooves Portland to do this
tank-wise.
The only way it gets really dicey is if we're in, like, late February, early March, and he's still not on the team, or he's still on the team, but not in any way, shape, matter, or form active, and he's healthy. Adam Silver might go, I don't like this.
I don't think he will.
Don't think so?
No, I don't think Portland's – I don't think they need to worry about Portland
with Dame down, maybe they just kind of – nah, all right.
I think Adam's doing this now that Dame's down to Portland games.
Turning up the Jack Ramsays pre- and post-game show? Is that what he's doing?
Yes.
Yes. And guys, I'm not saying guys can't miss a game or 2 or 3 even after the birth of a child. Eduardo says Conley missed a playoff game with the birth of a child. You're not picking up what I'm putting down. I'm talking about she could have the child tonight and CJ still not playing 3 weeks from now.
Danny's basically suggesting, like, it's all very vague and unknown, but it really feels like he's not going to play again. They just don't want to outwardly say
and
that.
It's the same thing with Damian Lillard. Oh, he's missing 3 games while he tries to rest and to get this right. He was never coming back.
Until eventually they announce he's getting abdomen surgery, he will be out the rest of the year. Yes. Like, that's coming at some point.
Those are the breadcrumbs Brandon and I have been leaving for the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
Like, he was never coming back. The second he sat the second time, done.
Yep.
Kaput. Over. I used kaput twice tonight. Good God.
Stop saying the same word. Golly.
I hate it when you fall back on that. But overall, it's a good place for Portland to be. Not that it's I want them to lose. And I've seen some people say, I'll never get behind tanking. The players won't tank. No, the players won't tank. They never will. Organizations tank. Players don't.
The team is bad enough to tank, but the players try their damnedest to not tank, but they're not good enough to win. That's tanking.
Michael's saying, wait, so you think CJ is out indefinitely?
Hey, he's been out, right? I mean, can you say he's been out indefinitely?
Yes. He's not playing right now and hasn't played for a week, maybe 2, and he's been healthy.
I support it.
Listen, it's a very convenient timing.
Yeah.
CJ himself said she was due within the next 1 to 4 weeks 4 weeks ago. You guys do the math. So it is what it is. Speaking of it is what it is, let's get into tonight's jacked up line of the night. We alluded to it earlier. The Blazers are plus 8.5 straight up. They are plus 270. And the over-under tonight, Brandon, 225.
Money line almost 3-1 is pretty telling. Vegas doesn't think there's much of a chance.
They think Portland is going to be led to the slaughterhouse. These are worse. The only time they have been worse for Portland this season was against Golden State.
And as do I. I'm going to agree with the books here. And because of such a big number, I'm going to raise the stakes. I'm going to try to find more value. And I'm going to take the Nets to win by an alternative timeline of 14 to 16 points. If they win between 14 and 16 points, it pays out at plus 825 on the scoreboard app. And I will be laying $10 on that because why not? It makes it fun when you watch and you gamble.
Absolutely, it does. It is now up to plus 280. It is still at 8.5, and the over-under line has not moved. So it's going to be interesting. Eduardo says CJ's not even doing his podcast lately.
Has he been doing that? Like, I feel like that kind of stopped.
It kind of tapered off right around December.
Oh, was he still doing it before December?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So, and Second Tater says, call me crazy, but I'm a little worried McCollum and Ant would win too many games for a current tankathon. Yes,
dude,
you guys
I think Ant is.
You're picking it up. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's why they're gonna tamper things down.
Yes.
Like, you saw Sacramento last night. They're bad. They're almost entirely healthy. They had basically everyone but Rashawn Holmes, and they look like dog shit. Portland was missing 4 of 5 starters.
Yep.
Like, it's these aren't hard lines to draw, guys. Like, the organization is telling you right now without telling you. They're offering 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 popcorns, and 4 drinks for $99.
Ooh, where are you sitting, though?
I mean, you're probably top of the 200s if we're being honest.
You got to get me in the hundreds to interest me on that deal.
I mean, that's actually not bad when you think about it.
To watch this team, that's not great. I mean, it's not
the whole family out there.
Well, I'll say this, man. You also have to remember that Philadelphia ruined this for everybody because they were so overt with it and so loud.
And it was 5 years.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, there's been tons of teams.
Oklahoma City's in year 2 of doing it.
Oklahoma City is the most noticeable tanking team, but because they collect assets, because they pay Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like, they keep doing just the bare minimum for Adam Silver to go, I know what you're doing, but I'm not going to say anything about it. Like, you just can't be too out there with it. But they're still going to allow teams to do this. Like, you can't eliminate that because a lot of teams, and I think the league knows this, a lot of teams have to benefit from bottoming out. They're just not set up for success to turn around from LeBron.
And that was always the case outside of the luxury destinations.
Yeah.
Miami, LA.
I mean, Golden State, you know what I mean? Like,
New York's not even that anymore.
New York has not been that. I mean, unless you count Brooklyn.
Cokers, it says, I'm selling tickets to the 100 level right now for $25. So, yeah, the market for tickets right now is not a great one.
I got to be honest with you, Danny, there's probably going to be a podcast I'm missing because I'm kind of sniffing and thinking about going to one of these games, man. These are cheap ass tickets.
I have had the urge to do it when they get back from that road trip to maybe sneak one game in before my surgery.
You should, man. You should definitely.
Because I haven't been back in the arena since March of 2020.
Oh, you were there in March 2020.
I was there at the Memphis game right before Houston because that was supposed to be Nurk's return.
Oh, see, I don't think I've been there since 19. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, because I used to be at every game.
Yeah.
Because I would go and I would stay until the third quarter, halfway through the third quarter, and then boogie down to NBC at the quarter break. That way I could, talk to everybody in the building, talk to players and stuff like that. And yeah, there were tickets 5 rows up for $76. It's not a good time right now.
No, but I mean, it's good time for fans that love basketball.
Listen, I've said this before. If you have the opportunity, if you have money to throw away, and you have not had the opportunity to go sit courtside, find a game on the schedule where there's guys that you want to see from a visiting team, and check the injury reports and see what kind of guys are, and go.
Mm-hmm.
Go sit at a courtside NBA game. It will be an experience you will never forget. Number one, you will see just how big these guys really are, how fast they are, how much shit they talk, and how different the game is when you're on a court level.
You said something there, and I know we've run long on the pregame, but let me just mention it because you brought this up a second ago.
Mm.
I meant to do this segment on my radio show, but I just forgot. I'm going to say this. Football players are really well respected, right? Like in the man's world, in the sports sphere, we view football players as these modern day gladiators, and they're tough as hell. There was maybe nobody tougher to play as long as they did and achieve what they did than Frank Gore. Dude is a tank.
Yeah. And Darren Williams beat the hell out of him.
Beat by Darren Williams. I know we clown basketball players because they do the hold me back. But by God, you're talking about one of the toughest football players ever, and D. Will just served him.
Three-pieced him a couple times.
I'm 6'3", 230. You are 5'10", 190 or 200 pounds. Like, I'm serving you, and it's just a reminder of, like, the freaks that these dudes truly are.
Big dudes.
Yes.
It is like, it's kind of funny when we talk about like small 6'3" guards. It's always funny when you go see somebody up close in person. Like you see Nas up close in person and you're like, and he's not that big.
The craziest one that I tell people that if you can get close enough, do it, because one, it's a treat, and two, it will shock you how much bigger Steph Curry is in person.
Steph's almost 6'5".
Than when you see him on TV, though, you're like, skinny, tall shooter
jacked.
guy.
He
is
jacked.
built, man. I stood next to this dude after they won the finals here in Portland. And I remember just standing next to him. He's talking to Colin Kaepernick. His mom's next to him. And I'm just looking, and I'm like,
he's the same size as Cap. Like, what the hell?
He would have been our center in high school. Like, this dude is built.
Yeah, they're all big dudes in the NBA.
They're all big.
Like, it's funny because Ant's 195 pounds, and you can see every bit of that. And you're like, if he's 195, what does that make Dame? And you're like, oh, right. Dame's 6'1", about 225.
Dame's got muscle, man. That dude's put on muscle.
Rock, man. And it's just funny when you start talking about that stuff. But again, there's a little bit of a detour there. If you have the opportunity, if you have the means, if you have the availability and the ability to go check out a game courtside, it is rad. It is absolutely awesome. If you're not opposed to language, definitely find a game where the opponent has a shit talker on their team, like, because you want to sit there and you want them going at each other.
Hey, this is a good game for it. KD will jaw.
KD is a jaw guy for sure. Yeah. Like, obviously a Warriors ticket's going to cost you a ton of money, but like a Draymond, anytime you get somebody who chirps, it is a absolute treat. As far as listening to guys kind of go at it all night long. Speaking of absolute treat, Portland Trailblazers taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Coming up here very, very soon. Here, tip off in about 18 minutes. We will get out of here. I will post the link here to the live show shortly, and then it's gonna be fun. We'll come hang out, and we'll get you for the post game show following obviously the game tonight, and then we will have a mailbag pod. I don't know if we're going to do it tomorrow or if we'll kind of roll it into another one later this week with so many games every other day.
Yeah.
But we will have one of the live shows this week in between. And on the road trip, ladies and gentlemen, we will have Hodor himself, Casey Holdall, will join us from the road on the back end of the road trip, as will Hud Dog. Jamie Hudson will also join us on the road trip as a guest. So we will finally be able to work people back in, as I'm no longer dying, and neither is Brandon.
Should we save a mailbag for Holdall?
Ooh, we should get some questions in for Holdall. That would be good.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. All right, we'll do that. We'll hold it. But if you want to get your questions in, at Jack Ramsays, at Danny Moring, at Brandon Sprague, or jackramsays@gmail.com. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Find us wherever you get podcasts. If you're watching here on YouTube, please subscribe if you haven't already. Help us grow the channel. We are back on track. The next goal, 2,500, then 3,000. It has been a hell of a ride so far. We appreciate you. We love you. And thank you all so very much for what you all do. We will catch you here in the live show in a few minutes if you're there. Otherwise, we will catch you in the postgame show. Take care. Talk soon.